Hey you guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of On My Last Brain Cell, hosted by me, your boy Disgrace. If I look just done, I am. I just came from what I talked about in the last episode, my orientation. I wore the same outfit as last time because when I went to go do my processing, it was for 10 minutes, so nobody saw how cute I looked. So I just wore the same outfit. My makeup is 8 hours in. I feel very oily. I also feel very red because it's hot as fuck. But it was cold as shit in the orientation room. I just got home. Orientation will always be fucking boring. We all know how orientation goes. We all know how it is. It's the typical videos and segments and almost, what word am I trying to use? Speeches of, you know, like the typical shit like sexual harassment, that you as a worker there, you represent the casino, so you have to look a specific way, you have to act a specific way, all of that shit. Your appearance, what they accept, what they don't accept, our discounts, reasons why you could get fired, like it's all of that shit. This was the first time that in an orientation where when it came to sexual harassment, they did a lot of like the newer things nowadays, like a lot of gender specific things about like the trans community, the gay, just the LGBT community in general, which I thought was really cool because it was really inclusive. Like one of the things that it was talking about was that, you know, something that could potentially happen, but it's something that this company says that they do not tolerate, is that they kind of gave like an example of somebody that came out to their coworkers as gay, and then like the week after that they fired him supposedly because of like his performance, which is usually what they end up doing, just to like just to avoid taking that legal action. They'll just say that, you know, you were a shit worker even though you were there for so many years, and then all of a sudden you are a shit worker just because you came out. It was more inclusive, so I thought it was pretty cool. But it's just those things take so fucking long. It's a full shift. It was from 9 to 5, but they paid me my full pay that I said in the last episode. I wasn't really gonna say how much I'm making, but to know that I was already making that, I was like, okay, that made it a little bit bearable. Like with every fucking job, like with these things, they always make you do like icebreakers, and when you sit down they have a sheet in front of you called bingo, and it's questions that you ask everybody, like, oh, to the Allegiant Stadium, I'm left-handed, I have more than 3 tattoos, I love true crime podcast, blah blah, yada yada yada. I only got 4 people's names because I don't fuck with that shit. Let me be so real. I hate doing shit like that. Always will hate doing things like that. I hate the icebreakers. I hate having to introduce myself. Like, I get it because they want you to engage, and then when you do work in hospitality, you are supposed to have that specific type of personality where you can engage with the guest or with clients or whoever it may be, and have that personality that makes you personable to each person, you know what I mean? I do to a certain degree when I have to, but when it's something like that to where it almost feels forced, I hate every second of it, and I will be so angry. So I'm really happy that I was with a table that like one of the guys was very talkative, and he was down to be our team captain of the table, and he was the one speaking the most, so that's what helped it out. This was only day 1, so I hope tomorrow it's like this too, but I didn't have to stand up and like say a fun fact about me and talk about me. I hate doing that shit. Like, just tell me the shit that I already know, that I need to get through, you know, all like that. Those videos that I was talking about before, and then just send me into these rooms because I don't want to do this. I hate doing all this shit. One thing that was fun, because this is the second time that I do it, and I was with like a group of people in my table where we were all getting along already, was that they give us a scavenger hunt, and you go through the entire hotel to find certain things. Then afterwards they ask you questions about like what you found, what do these restaurants offer, because even though I am only in housekeeping, to a certain degree I do have to know like the layout and what the hotel offers, just in case if a guest asks me where specific things are, because it has happened before. There are times where, like, because since I just don't put that much effort into it, where I don't know where certain things are, and I'll just tell them, I'm like, oh, I'm really sorry, I don't really know. I'm like, but there is somebody downstairs that can help you with it. You want to like not just completely tell them like, hey, can't help you, bitch, sorry. Like, I can't do anything. You still want to give them like that option of like, there are specific things that can help you. There's maps around the casino that can help you as well. I knew where certain things were, but it's something that I am gonna have to learn. But yeah, it was pretty cool. It wasn't bad. It's just so much talking, so much video, so many things that I already know, so many things that I've already seen from like working in other hotels, that it's just like really, really boring. Tomorrow, yeah, they give us our graduation. I meet with my specific manager for housekeeping, and then that's when like the whole training starts, and then, you know, that's when my career starts again. But that's a little update on that. For today's episode, this is something that I talked about in the last episode that was inspired by what my friend did on TikTok. Just to recap real quick, she did something that was inspired by the Spotify Wrapped, but she called it Dating Wrapped, where she kind of went through, you know, her experiences like last year with dating, and she left it like on a 1 to 5 star scale, and, you know, if they're friends or if they don't talk anymore. And I thought it was a really good idea, so I did that on TikTok. And then when we had that stupid ass 16-hour TikTok ban, I wanted to create it into an episode because, like how I said, I wanted to be more consistent with the podcast. Which, look at me, I'm already doing the second episode. As drained as I am, and I just want to go home, even though I'm around the corner because I just parked outside the gate. I want to do it, and I want to be consistent. So, yeah. And as you can see too, I updated the hair. I bought the gray shampoo, so my hair's not blonde anymore. It's gray. I'm surprised they didn't tell me anything, because the executives are coming into the orientation room and giving speeches, and then they look at you and everything. But I asked, because even with my blonde hair, I specifically let them know it's blonde, but it's almost white, and this almost looks white too. And they were like, oh, it's completely fine. So I don't want to fucking hear it. But yes, I'm gonna be doing my Dating Wrapped. This will be a 2-parter because I know it's gonna be a lot. So this is gonna be part 1. So I'm gonna try and remember everything that I talked about. So to start it all off, last year, as you guys know, I was in a relationship before that, and then it kind of went to shit. I have a whole episode about that with my best friend. We kind of made an episode, but then some shit went down, but we kind of talked about it in the newer episode. I'll link that down below if you guys are curious to know about that one. But yeah, so we're not gonna get too much into that one because I'm tired of talking about his stupid ass, and I just genuinely don't care about him anymore. And last month made it a year that I officially left him, and also it has made it a year that I've been officially single and thriving and happy, because I cannot date anymore, dude. I cannot. Men are so incredibly draining. Relationships are draining. And specifically, like how I talked about in the last episode too, was that someone like me, that I have always worked 2 jobs. I've always had the most money out of the people that I've dated. So that always gets taken advantage of. I always end up paying for all the dates. I end up paying for everything. It's so taxing and so mentally draining just to be with somebody and to be in a relationship. And even with the talking stage, where this year I'm just completely done with that, you know? Like how I talked about in the last episode too, was that this year I wanted it to be different, and I wanted to focus on my mental health and therapy and my sobriety. And one of my resolutions was to stay off the dating apps and to stay off from dating in general, because I just can't be bothered right now, dude. Like, I am, again, like I talked about in the last episode, I am in my most selfish era right now, but in a good way, because I want to take care of myself and I want to put myself first, and I don't want to put somebody else above me and then go above and beyond in a relationship when this man can't even do the same for me, because that's how it's always been. I've always been there for these men, not only financially, but mentally as well. And the last guy I was talking to straight up told me, I can't really be there for you mentally, but yet every time he called me, I had to be there for him. But yet when I needed him there for me, it was too much. So it's like everything is very like one-sided, and it's shit that I don't want to deal with anymore. So it's just, I'm drained, dude. I'm drained. I'm done. I don't want to date right now. And then the minute that I said I didn't want to date anymore, that's when some people were hitting me up, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but I'm not doing this shit with you. I won't lie, I gave a couple people a chance, which I will talk about probably in the second part. That completely went to shit and really reminded me, like, this is why I said what I said. So let's start it off. So the first one, this one wasn't a bad experience. It all fell down completely on me. So I broke it off with my ex around this time, around, I think it was like the end of last month going into this month, because I remember I had moved back and I went to that festival, Sick New World, and then I also went to EDC. I was living my life after I broke up with him, because I was like, you have drained me of who I am and just in general, that I wanted to live my life after him. I did the stupid thing of going on Tinder again, mostly because I was bored and I wanted attention. You know, I was just craving that that meaningless connection and meaningless attention from other men. So I went on Tinder and I met a guy who was, I have nothing bad to say about him, and that's incredibly rare because I always have something bad to say about a man. But when it came to this guy specifically, he was amazing. He was perfect. His banter was up to me. You know, he could keep up with my banter and he could keep up with me in general. He was so incredibly funny. He has such a great personality. He has such a great sense of humor. He was such a good person in general too. We matched not only on that, but on my political views as well, because that's always been important for me. Even when it came to me not wanting to date, or just like not be like in a relationship, I would still always look for somebody who wasn't a fucking bigot, because the last thing I was gonna do was hook up with a bigot or have a connection with a bigoted person, you know. I just didn't want that type of energy around me. He was everything I ever wanted, and I think that's why I fell so hard for him, because he was everything that my ex wasn't. And that was also that's what was on me, you know. That's the L that I had to take, was that after being in a relationship with my ex and then finding somebody so fast that was the complete opposite of who he was, I was bound to fall in love with him. Not really in love, but I was bound to fall for him, you know, in general. I was bound to fall for him as a person, and the way that he was and the way that he made me feel, you know, because again, he was so opposite from my last ex that it was like, it was just such a breath of fresh air. But I had to have that conversation with myself, like, are you truly ready to be in a relationship again? I believe it had only been like 3 or 4 months since I had been single, and everything was going really well with me and him, but I had to have that conversation with not only myself, but with him as well. And I told him, I was like, you are an amazing guy. It has nothing to do with you, which sounds very typical, but I told him, it has nothing to do with you and everything to do with me. I was like, because I know that I'm freshly single. He knew about my situation with my ex, and I knew about his. We were both like really freshly out of a relationship. And we both had agreed that it would be better to not go into one, because we were both kind of falling really hard for each other. And we both knew and were self-aware of like, we are falling as hard as we are because we're the opposite of who we were with. And you don't want to base the entire relationship off of just that. So I eventually just had to cut it off with him, and I just had to be like, I'm really sorry, but this isn't gonna work. You know, we can be friends, because even though we all say that, like, oh, we could be friends and blah blah, you know, we never really end up friends. But with him, I really wanted him in my life, but unfortunately, he did tell me that once a connection ends, he kind of goes like Houdini, and that's something that I do too. Is that I disappear on that person, and like there is no friendship, there is no connection, there's nothing after that. So now it's been like, I haven't spoken to him in about a year. I do miss him, but at the same time, I don't think I miss him enough to where I would want to be in a relationship with him still. It's been a whole year and I'm still like, mostly because of what I just talked about, like me entering that selfish era and wanting, my priorities have shifted. And the last thing I would want to do is hurt him, because he was such an amazing guy. So with him, I give him like a 10 out of, like a 5. We'll just do it a 5. I don't want to do like 10s and whatnot. I'll just give him like a 5 out of 5, you know, because he was amazing, but it was like that typical shit of like right person, wrong time. And I still feel like it is like a very incredibly wrong time, you know, because like I said, the last thing I would ever want to do is to hurt him. The next one is this one guy that I no longer speak to. That, it was weird. So we had, because when I went back on the apps, I downloaded all of them. I was on Tinder, Hinge, and Facebook dating. Because when I tell you I wanted attention, bitch, I wanted attention. So I was like, I'm gonna get it from every source, which is bad. I ended up meeting this one guy on Hinge. He was really cool. I thought he was really cute too. We ended up going on one date. We went on that one date. During the date, I didn't really feel a lot of connection with him. It felt more like he was gonna be a homie, if anything. He had conversation to him. Like the conversation was good. We talked about work. He worked for Insomniac, which was really cool. He travels. He told me he travels for work a lot because he works for Insomniac as a whole. So not just like EDC or Escape or whatever it may be. It's Insomniac as a whole. So he works as developing like the stages and everything for these type of festivals. Last year for EDC 2024, he designed and created all of downtown EDC, like the way it looked, the layout and everything. So that was his job, and he would travel a lot. He wanted to meet before he left because I think in about 2 weeks he was about to leave. We met up for a date. It was cool. Like I said, I didn't really feel anything with him. Like I said, it felt more like me and him were gonna be homies, if anything. Towards the end of the night, he kind of wanted to continue it, so we went back to his apartment. Nothing freaky happened. We literally just sat there, watched movies, and just talked. You know, he was a yapper. Certain yappers could take it out of me, so I was yapping too, and we were just going like back and forth. Like I said, the conversation was good. I just didn't feel the connection with him. Where it really kind of like ruined it for me, it kind of took it out of me, was that when I was leaving, he wanted to give me a goodbye kiss, and I was like, okay, you know, a little kiss it doesn't mean anything to me, right? When I tell you that kiss gave me the ick, and I I have never felt so uncomfortable and so disgusted at the same time. Because it wasn't that he, I don't know, because it wasn't that he didn't know how to kiss. I think it was just the type of style of mustache that he had. Because kissing him felt like I was kissing a catfish. And not like the term like a catfish that's someone that plays you, like an actual catfish. Because like, you know how they have like those fancy whiskers? That's kind of what he had. And kissing him just felt so fucking nasty. Like I did not enjoy kissing him at all. That first kiss I was like it just and I'm not even trying to exaggerate or sound fucked up, but it felt so, it was such a visceral reaction that I couldn't do it. Because if I can't even enjoy kissing you, this isn't gonna work in any type of way. If we're in a relationship, it's not gonna work if I can't kiss you. If we're just one of those type of friends that, like, you know, we mess up, like a friends with benefits kind of shit, and I can't kiss you, it wasn't for me. I saw him once again after that, because he was a really cool person. It was just like the kissing. We kissed again, and he kept doing it frequently, and I was like, oh. Every kiss just made my entire body just, how should I say it? Like it was just cringe, you know? It made my butthole go inside of my body. Like, that's how it was. It was such an incredibly visceral reaction that I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. What made it easier was that pretty much he had ghosted me. So he told me that he was leaving for work, for traveling for work. Holy fuck. And I was like, okay. He came back. It did take me a minute to hit him back up, because not only did I not feel a connection, but because I was working a lot during that time. And I hit him up and I was like, hey, sorry, it's been so long. It was during that time where I was working like 6 days straight. So I only had 1 day off in between, and I was working both jobs still. And I had told him that I was like, hey, sorry, it took me a while to hit you back up. Work has been kicking my ass. I hope you've been doing good. He never opened the message. He never read it. And then we just never spoke after that. Which to me, I didn't give a fuck. He did me the favor, if I'm being so completely honest, because I couldn't do it, dude. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I'm sorry. So the fact that he ghosted me, I was like, dang God, I dodged such a bullet with you, man. But with him, he was a really good person. But I'll give him like a 3 out of 5, you know, because it was like the kiss, dude. I couldn't do it. The lips were, like I'm telling you, it felt like kissing the catfish. The lips were really thin and wet, and then like with the fucking whiskers, it's just, no, I could not do it. So that was it with that one. So the next one after that was, who was it? I was talking to some guys in between, but I had never met them. One of them that I was talking to, I think I had him on the little thing that I made on TikTok. We met through Hinge. Another person I met through Hinge. These next three people, I never met up with them because that's during the time when I had COVID. And I ended up getting COVID for the first time last year, and it was fucking horrendous. Like I had COVID and strep throat at the same time. It was the worst experience of my life. I went all these years without COVID, and I was like, yes, Osmosis Jones got me. No, he doesn't. I almost died. Like it was that fucking bad. But I was still talking to other guys during that time because, you know, I was just bored. I wasn't at work. I was on medical leave. So there was this one guy that I had a match with that I thought was really, really cute. You know, he had very like beautiful green eyes, and he was Mexican too. So I was like, oh, even better. Because sometimes I do speak a lot of Spanglish. So when I'm with somebody who doesn't speak Spanish, I really have to pay attention to what I'm saying. Because se me sale, and I'm just like, now I have to translate everything to you. So we were talking on Tinder. On Hinge. He knew that I had COVID. He already knew that. And I told him, I was like, when I feel better, me and you can meet up. And he's always wanted to go to to go eat ramen. So I was like, I have my favorite ramen spot. We can go there. You know, just let me heal, let me feel better, because I could not go out. His communication was very top tier. We communicated very, very well. He had really good banter to himself too. He was really fun to talk to. He was a Gemini, so he was incredibly fun to talk to. He had me cackling every time. What ruined it for me was that he didn't hit me up for 2 days, but he was still posting it on social media. And I didn't want to be that type of person that bitches about that. But the fact that me and him had communicated about the fact that when I told him, I was like, all I'm asking for is for communication. I was like, just talk to me. That's it. That's all I'm asking you for. And then like it bothered me because I was like, you're on social media, but you can't even tell me that you're busy with work or just keep me updated throughout the day, you know? On the second day, he ends up hitting me up, and he was like, hey, I'm sorry, I should have told you that I was going to be busy with this convention. And that's when I found out it was a convention. I just thought he was busy with work. I didn't respond to him at all, and then he responded to me that night again. He was like, hey, I hope your day went well. I hope you have a good night. The very next day, I hit him up, and I was like, hey, even though and I was kind of petty with it, where I was like, I'm not gonna leave you hanging the way that you left me hanging, because I told you that we would communicate, so I'm gonna communicate with you, even though you did it with me. And I told him, I was like, I get it that work can be busy. I was like, because I understand that. I'm a housekeeper. That's not an easy job. There's days where I can't even be on my fucking phone because that's how crazy it gets. And I work 2 jobs. And I told him, I still always find a way. Even when I park early at work, I always text you to let you know, hey, it's a Monday or it's a Friday or whatever it may be. It's going to be a busy day for me. I'll try to text you if I can. If not, you'll probably hear from me at the end of my shift. And I told him that I always kept communicating with you, but yet you couldn't even have done the most simplest thing when that's all I asked from you. So I told him, I was like, I'm just over it now. I was like, but you know, this is where I have to end it. And all he replied back was, no, I completely understand. I hope you find your person one day. And that was it. That's all he left it at. And I was like, okay, well, you don't give a shit. I was like, you don't care. So with him, because of that, I'll give him a 2 out of 5. I would never speak to him again. I'm completely over it. And I'm just over it. And then like that's the thing with me, is that like once I'm over it, dude, it's just, that's the end of all of it. Like I can't really say never because I have, but with certain situations I wouldn't reopen that, you know what I mean? But now, after the experiences that I've had in the one recent, I'm never reopening shit again. Like once it's done, it's done. Like that's it. That's where it ends. Another guy that I was talking to during the same time, we had matched on Tinder. He was okay. I was mostly attracted to his body, because he you know, he was like very muscly everywhere. He had like that very muscly dad bod, and it was hot, I will admit. But the entire conversations, he would always turn them sexual. He would always tell me like, oh yeah, if you do this, I'm gonna get horny. If you do that, I'm gonna get horny. And I was like, you're horny 24/7, dog. I'm like, I can't speak to you without the conversation turning sexual. Like, this is your entire personality, and I'm not gonna match that for you. Because when I was younger, yeah, I used to be like that. But now that I'm older, it's like I crave a real connection, like an emotional connection, not just a sexual one. Yes, that is important, but when you make that the entire antithesis of the relationship or the connection, I want nothing to do with it, because it just shouldn't solely be based just on, you know, a sexual connection. So I was still gonna meet up with him to go to a bar, because I was like, I'm bored anyway. I was like, I'm not really talking to anybody. I mean, that's a lie. I was talking to people, but I was like, I'm gonna just meet up with whoever, because that's the thing with me, and I'll get into that in with one of these experiences. One of these experiences with this man, with a different man, was that even if I like you, I will always have a roster. I will always be talking to somebody else. I'm not gonna clear out my roster for one person. And on top of that, from what I've learned, and it's something that a lot of people should learn, because it kind of helps you keep one foot out the door, is that no matter who you're talking to, that's not your man. You know, that's not your man. You don't owe them exclusivity. You don't owe them loyalty. You don't owe them anything. We are just talking. I am single, and I'm gonna act accordingly, which is single. So I was talking to this dude. Like I said, we were gonna meet up. He wanted to go to a bar just to have it be like more intimate, so we could like talk. We were gonna go to one here. I don't know if you guys have it anywhere else in the world, but it's called PT's. That's like a chiller vibe. It's like an adult bar where you could like go and chill, and the drinks are cheap, you know, it's cool. Me and him were setting up the date, and then that's when he fucked it up, because he was like, oh, when I drink, I become a horny demon. And I was like, again with this shit? So I messaged him back, and I was like, it seems like everything gets you fucking horny. And then he was like, oh, and by the way, I become an ass grabber once I start drinking. And that's when I was like, you lost me. You lost me. You fucking lost me. And I told him, I was like, I don't play with that shit. I'm gonna tell you this right now, I don't play with that. Consent for me is very important, and if you touch me without consent, I will pull my switchblade out on you. I don't play that bullshit. And instead of him taking that seriously, he messages me back, and he's like, he makes a joke out of it, and he's like, oh, just make sure there's nothing below the waist. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I am telling you that what you said made me uncomfortable, and you're gonna make a fucking joke about it? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? When he made a joke out of it, I was like, you lost me even more. I was like, yeah, fuck off. So then after that, I just ghosted him, because I was like, you are 30. He was like in his early 30s, and I was like, you are a 30-year-old man. You are a grown ass man. If I have to explain this shit to you, that's a problem in general. That's a problem in itself. So I was like, I'm not gonna explain to you why consent is important. But then that's also like the bad thing with the gay community, is that you do shit like that and people see it as a compliment, and they're like, oh, he wants me so bad. And for some people, yeah, that may be true, and some people do enjoy that because that's how the gay community is. But I've never been that way. I don't mind being touched, as long as there is that consent, as long as it's the okay, you know. If we're both feeling it, then yeah. But for you, just because you're drinking, to think that it's okay to grab my ass, yeah, I'm gonna fuck you up. And then that's also a problem in itself, because you are comfortable enough to tell me this because you've done this before and people have let you. And I was like, bitch, I'll fucking kill you. I was like, hey, I'll murder you. Like, touch me and I'll cut your fucking hand off. So I just ghosted him and I never spoke to him again. And I was like, because I was like, I will never want to be around you, because I will already feel unsafe around you. Even if you accidentally bump into me, I'll lose my fucking mind. Like, at that point, you have lost everything. Like, me as a person, a potential with us, with anything, my safety and my trust with you, no. I'm not doing that shit. It's gonna be the last one. This is a guy that I met on Tinder. Since the minute that me and him had matched, he was already bitching and moaning like crazy about how we weren't compatible because we were separate. We were complete opposites. Because this was before I got sober, and he was like, "Yeah, like I drink, but I'm always in my house, and you're always partying, and you're always doing this and blah blah yada yada yada." And I was like, I'm open about everything on my bio, where I'm like, oh, you know, like I put what I like, you know, like festivals, concerts, all of that. And he was like, oh, I'm more of a homebody, but yeah, he still wanted to get to know me. And then after that, I was like, I was more sexually attracted to him, and he was down to hook up. So that's the only reason why I was talking to him after that. After that, we took it off with Tinder, and he gave me his number, and we were talking on there. It was still the same shit of him bitching and moaning about how we weren't compatible and blah blah blah. And then what really made it us not be compatible was that he told me that he realized that he wants a relationship open to a certain degree, in the fact of like open, like if me and him were in a relationship, I would be the open one, in the aspect of he's into voyeurism, so he would want to watch me get fucked by other guys, but him not participate. He just wants to watch. And I was like, and I'm not judging anybody who's into that. If you're into polyamory, if you have an open relationship, if you have a relationship like that I just described, go hard. You know, if that's what makes you happy, go hard. I don't judge anybody if they want to do that, but I'm not into that. And I was like, that's really what's gonna make us not compatible, is because I wouldn't be down for that, dude. Like it seems like you want to sell me, and I don't want to do that. What really did it for me though, where like it really pissed me off, was that me and him were talking about what he was looking for, and then also like our past experiences. And I told him, I was like, it's gonna take me a minute for me to move back in with somebody because of the situation that I just had with my ex. And this motherfucker, he messages me back and he says, oh, I used to be a prude too before I went to therapy. A prude? Because I've been speaking to you for what, 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm saying that I'm not gonna move in with you? That's what makes me a fucking prude? I was like, what the fuck, dude? And I told him, I was like, how does that make me a fucking prude? Because I don't want to move in with you? Like, I barely know you. It's gonna, and like, what the fuck? And then that's when I realized he was projecting, because he told me, he was like, well, it's because I was in a 7-year relationship and I don't want to do that again without having somebody move in with me. And I was like, oh, so you're projecting, so that's what makes the situation so much worse. Because of your own experience, you're going to want to force somebody to really move in with you so you don't waste 7 more years. But yet that's your fucking fault. Because from what he told me was that he would consistently tell his partner, like, move in with me, and they just didn't want to. And I'm like, that's your fucking fault. You made a conscious effort to waste 7 years on somebody that blatantly showed you that they didn't want to be with you in that way. You had to beg him to move in with you, and even then he didn't want to. But yeah, it makes me a prude. I'll be a prude, but you're a dumbass. Like, if I'm a prude, then you're a dumbass. Like, what the fuck, dude? That's what really took it out of me. Because I was like, there's no way that you're calling me a prude for your decisions. You made the conscious effort to waste 7 years on somebody that did not want to move in with you, even when you were begging them to. Baby, that's your fault. Why does that make me a prude? So after that, I was like, deuces. I was like, bye. Yeah, I was like, I'm done. I was like, I'm never speaking to you again. And we never spoke again. We had plans that Friday to go on a date, and I ghosted him and I stood him up. All the good shit. Because I was like, fuck you, dog. For you to call me a prude because you're a dumbass, get the fuck out of my face. Get the fuck out of my face. But yeah, you guys, that's a note that I'm gonna end it on today. Tomorrow I have orientation again, so tomorrow I'll do part 2 of this, and they will be juicier stories, because it wasn't until the end of the year where I had really met like these specific people that just, it all went south, you know. So I'll talk about that in the next episode. But thank you guys again so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this and to hear this and to keep up with me and my inconsistent ass. As always, I will have my social medias linked down below. I only use Instagram and TikTok. Again, I'm gonna try my hardest to be consistent with this podcast. It seems like I am. It's just the whole editing process. It's easy to record, but it's just the editing process. Sorry if it looks like I'm picking my nose too. I feel like I have shit in my nose. but it's just allergies. But yes, I will catch you all in the next episode. Deuces.